Well, this morning we find ourselves in the Beaver Valley section of the Bruce Trail here on the Niagara Escarpment. Wow, just outside of the town of Collingwood, Ontario. Absolutely amazing, beautiful day. Winter. You know what, it's January, I think the 30th today. Tomorrow is the first day of February. We did get a little bit of fresh snow last night, not a lot, just a little bit, but it's adding some nice contrast to the trees. A little bit of impact snow on the trunks of the trees. You know what, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful morning to get out here, hike a 10-15 kilometer trail and see what landscape images we can find. Further down the trail, about 6 or 7 kilometers from here, it does open up into a wide vista. That's primarily our destination this morning. And from there we're going to continue and make a loop back to the parking area at the start of this particular section of the trail, or this trailhead. Which is a total of around 10 to 15 kilometers, depending which way we go. Hey, Gary here with Gary Clayton Photography. Let's head out. Let's head along the trail. Let's see what we can find today. Promises to be interesting. First composition of the day. Just looking back on the trail, the way we came, the chaos, the trees, there's a small stream running below, frozen on the surface, running water underneath. You probably won't pick this up on the GoPro, but it sounds just perfect. Little babbling brook, if you will, semi-frozen. Madness. Chaos, very hard to pick a composition. So we're going to pick the whole. We're going to pick the whole scene to take a shot of. Again, nothing spectacular, but when you're here and in the here and now right on this trail, it's absolutely beautiful. Hey, we're using our Fujifilm X-T100. We're set up on the tripod. We have an ISO of 200, a shutter speed of 1/60th of a second, aperture f8, one shot. We're going to change, let me see, let us just take that to one stop over, or thereabouts, maybe 1 1/3 stop over, and let's take that to about 1 stop under, 3 shots. Hey, 3 bracketed shots. 1 at what the camera tells me is correctly exposed, 1 at 1 stop over, 1 at about 1 stop under, possible HDR image. Hey, let's see. We won't know until we get that back into the computer, into Lightroom, and see what we've got. But hey, the morning continues. It's absolutely beautiful. We're simply going to turn the tripod around and we're going to take a shot looking up the trail. We're seeing some beautiful snow on the trees, some impact snow, and we're also seeing some remnants of last fall's golden colors on some of these leaves on the smaller trees and bushes. So that's what we're going to try to capture next. Stand by, let's just turn around and get recomposed. So once again, we've just turned around 180 degrees, looking now in the totally opposite direction than we were just a moment before. One single shot. Again, 1 shot, we'll go 1 stop under, maybe 1 1/3 stop under. We'll go to about 1 stop, maybe 1 1/3 stop over. Again, 3 shots. 1 again at what my camera tells me is correctly exposed. About 1 1/3 stop over and 1 1/3 stop under. Fumbling with the camera, as always, fingers like frozen blocks of ice. In my gloves, I do use, I'm going to show you, if I can get it out of here, but in there is one of those like hot pocket hand warmer little pouches. I use one in each of my gloves and they really do work, but when my hands are out of those gloves for any period of time, it gets cold. It's about minus 10 degrees Celsius this morning, so it's a little bit chilly, but not as cold as it could be. Okay, we're going to continue on this trail because it's absolutely beautiful this morning. We're going to continue on this trail. We're going to see what else we can find. Hey, let's pack up from here and let's get going. We've reached the outlook point on the trail. We've been here before. We were here last November. So what, about 3 months ago we were here at the first snow of the season. And it was just a wild, blustery kind of wide out, heavy snow day. But the escarpment over there that you're looking at right now, we're going to be ascending that area once we leave here and continuing along the trail. And way, way, way in the distance, and it just mingles and blends with the grey sky, is Georgian Bay. And Georgian Bay is part of Lake Huron. What a beautiful location to be in today. Absolutely gorgeous. But you know what? Before we even try to capture an image here, we have got the tripod set up on this like platform that has been built right here on the trail to observe as an observation post. Sorry if my speech is getting a little blurred. Temperature, really, really, really cold. And what I was going to show you a little earlier, this is my little kind of hot pocket heating kind of bags that I keep inside my gloves. Oh, excuse me. Anyhow, before we try to capture an image here this morning, we're going to get our hands warmed up because right now they are frozen. It's probably dropped a couple of degrees to about minus 12 degrees Celsius right now. You know what? And that's really normal. It could be much, much colder than that here. Granted, it could be warmer, but it could be much, much colder. Hey, let's just take a little break to get our hands warmed up. Then we're going to set the camera up on the tripod and we're going to try to capture this image behind us. Hey. Stand by. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. There's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. Although, I wish my hands were a little bit warmer. Okay. I think my nose is running too. Okay. Stand by. Okay. So we are set up on the tripod. Again, using the Fujifilm X-T100. Whew. Gloves are off. I got my fingers warmed up a little bit, although they don't stay warm for long in this temperature. And the gloves I use to try to keep my hands warm are so thick and big and bulky, I cannot use the camera, or I cannot use them to capture an image. So, without any further ado, f8 ISO 200, 1/60th of a second. And there is my shot. Let's go to one stop under. Let's go to one stop. Oops. Get my fingers working properly here. One stop over, or thereabouts. One shot. And you know what? I just want to go a little bit more over. Up to about 2, maybe even 2 1/3 stops. The reason why I do that is quite often when you're photographing snow, your camera does want to make everything 18% grey and it will dull down that snow. We've mentioned this many times. So do take an image or two in the snow at a little bit overexposed. It's going to help you maintain the white in the snow when you come to editing. Okay. Wow. Absolutely beautiful. I think what I'm going to do from here, because right now I'm using my 15 to 45mm lens, but I think I am going to change to my long lens, my 50mm to 230. See if I can get something a little bit more intimate, if you will. See if I can drag something from that escarpment ahead of us a little closer. See if we can make it a little more interesting. Let's get set up. Let's change those lenses. At a focal length of 135 mil, and absolutely crazy to see in the GoPro, but a tree down at the bottom, right here in the screen of the camera. Let's see, ISO 200, f8, shutter speed 1/100th of a second, 135 mil on a focal length. Capture that image, and let's just one more time, let's go to maybe 1 1/3 stop over, and let's take that two stops over, and you know what, let's just take it all the way down to, fingers getting cold again, about 1 1/3 stop under. And hey, there is a group or a series of images at varying shutter speeds to give me a varied exposure. Possible HDI. If we get anything from any of those shots right there that we just took, we'll pop one up right now to look at. But, whew, yep, fingers getting cold. One more time. Gonna put my gloves back on, pack up from here. We're gonna continue down the trail, which continues right ahead of us. It moves around, goes across, up the other side of the escarpment that we're looking at right now, and continues for another 10, 12 kilometers until eventually we reach the trailhead that we started from. Let's go. Let's see what else we can find today. Hiking in the cold and the bitter cold, it has its challenges for sure, no doubt about it. And it seems to be, with the right layering and clothing system, much easier to keep your body warm than it is to keep your hands warm. Each and every single time that I come out on a winter photography shoot, my hands suffer, my fingers just freeze, regardless of the Canadian winter gloves that I use. Today I'm using what's called hot paws, designed for snowmobile riding in minus 30 degrees Celsius. But you know what? My fingers freeze. The little hot pocket pouches I showed you earlier, they do really help, and they get quite warm inside the glove. You can also use those inside shoes to help keep your feet warm if needed, although I do use good trail runner shoes or footwear and JB Field merino wool socks, so my feet are generally just fine. I just kind of wanted to mention that about out on these photography shoots and hiking in general in the winter months here in Ontario, Canada. Speaking of hiking, if you haven't already, please go and check out my hiking channel, which is called Trail Named Jasper. I started that channel about 6 months ago because I do a lot of hiking, which really just goes hand in hand with landscape photography. So check that out. It may be of interest to some as far as the hiking goes, but 99 times out of 100 when I'm out doing a landscape shoot of some kind, I've hiked to get there. Whether it's just a couple of miles or whether it's 30 miles, I've hiked to get there. So yeah, check out Trail Named Jasper. Let me know what you think. Okay, it's just absolutely gorgeous. let's continue down this trail. And you know what? Wow. It's just like an archway, if you will. In fact, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you. It's just like this archway along this trail. It's beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. Again, we're in the Loree Forest, which is the part of the Beaver Valley section on the Bruce Trail here in Ontario. The Bruce Trail, just in case you don't know, is a trail that runs all the way from Niagara Falls to Tobermory, Ontario, about 900 kilometers. So it's quite a trail indeed. We're just on a small section of it today. Man, let's take a look around here. Wow. Are you kidding me? I do live in a winter wonderland. And look at the trail behind me. Man. Whew. It's beautiful. What an absolutely beautiful scene. Again, tall trees, snow everywhere, impact snow along the trunks of the trees, from the wind just blowing the snow hard on the trees and just impacting and staying there. Absolutely gorgeous. We are going to set up here and we are going to try to capture an image because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful forest. This is indeed the Loree Forest. This is the trail that we're heading down right in front of us. And right behind us is the trail that we came down. And this right here would be a beautiful scene to shoot. And I think that's what we're going to do next. Let's get set up on the tripod and let's see if we can do justice to this scene today, because it's beautiful. So yeah, we're set up on the tripod. This is our scene. This is what we're looking at. Let's take the shot. And you know what? Let us, as we normally do, let us take a shot at about, 2/3 of a stop under, give or take. Not wearing my glasses, so I can't actually see. But, and again at about a stop over. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful location this morning. So yeah, man, you know what? This hike continues. I am thoroughly enjoying my day today. I'm so lucky to live here. I'm so lucky to be a photographer. Man, what else could I possibly do? Well, anyhow, you know what? It's beautiful. Yeah. So, just going back to that image we took for one moment, and we are going to just take one more. And just for a point of interest, I'm using the 50 to 230mm zoom lens, if you will, Fuji's XC zoom lens. So that's an entry-level zoom lens, somewhere around a $400 price point. 50mm on this body is about a 75mm. I think it's a 1.5 conversion factor because it is a crop sensor. So it's about equivalent to a 75mm focal length. Wow. I'm also, with this particular camera, I can pick which kind of Fujifilm's traditional film I want to shoot in. And in this particular case, I'm shooting in a Velvia. But for a point of interest, let's change it. And let's just take another shot. And that'll give us something to compare with. Because I honestly, I use the Velvia only because now I'm screwing things up because I don't have my glasses on. There it is, the Velvia. I'm using the Velvia, the Velvia, only because trying to do two things at once here, think and talk, and that doesn't work for me. But I'm using the Velvia because one or two kind of traditional film shooters that I do know, one of them actually is Ben Horn. When I say I know, I don't know him personally, I just know of his channel. And I notice he shoots a medium format film or large format film. But I do hear him talk about shooting with the film Velvia. And so, because of that, I have selected Velvia on my settings with this Fujifilm. Keep in mind, this Fujifilm is still a new camera for me. I've only had it for a couple of months, and I've used it on 4 or 5 shoots like this one right now. In fact, maybe 3. In fact, this is the 3rd one, I think. So it's a learning process for me with that camera. I've always been a Canon shooter, but I wanted to go and try something different. Anyhow, so having said that, yeah, it's because of Ben Horn I thought, you know what, I'm going to set this to Velvia because he shoots Velvia film. Hey, how bad can that be? Because Ben's images are stunning, by the way. But just thought I'd mention that. Okay, we're going to pack up from here. We're going to carry on down the trail. We're going to see what else we can find today. Yeah, why not? This particular section of the trail is actually used very, very little in the winter months. Very challenging indeed. Almost knee height kind of post holing in the snow. Someone has been down this trail a day or 2 ago, maybe, on snowshoes. We'll take a little look. Again, just one more beautiful area to look at. And right there is a Bruce Trail Tuxedo Blaze. That's the marker telling us we're going to be making a left turn. Wow. How beautiful is this today? Well, it is treacherous as a trail. You have to be very, very careful. Again, pretty much post-holing for the last 2 or 3 kilometers now. Wow. A beautiful little country stream. A bridge in the distance. The bridge is part of the Bruce Trail. We are just that much off trail right now. We just walked downstream a couple of 100 yards. Absolutely gorgeous. A lot of chaos going on with the white snow everywhere. However, a beautiful little spot. Again, we're on the tripod, and again, my Fujifilm XT100. Loving this little tilt screen. Don't have to get my head right down to the ground to see everything. We're going to take one shot. We have a polarizer on there. We have a 2-stop ND filter on there. At f20 ISO 200, it's giving me about a 1/4 second shutter speed. Let's just grab one more of those. Sweet. You know what? Let's just take that a little under, grab that shot, and let's take it a little over. A lot of reflection on that screen because of that angle, and I actually can't see the numbers. I can see the image. Okay, we'll go back to what we think is exposed. Give a take. There we go. One more again. Hey, what an absolutely beautiful, again, location. On our hands and knees, deep snow. This is my little spot that I picked right beside the river, and it's an absolutely beautiful little place. Looking down the river a little bit, it just winds and bends in the distance. Yeah, okay, you know what, the day progresses. I'm getting hungry, I'm getting cold. I think it's time now just to kind of pack everything up from here, head back down this trail. I've got about 3 or 4 kilometers, I think, maybe 4 kilometers to get back to the parking area where I parked this morning. And I think I'm going to wrap it up, unless I come across something totally spectacular. I think I'm going to wrap it up there, because that's enough for today. We've been out several hours, and as I said earlier, it's pretty damn cold, which is also normal. Yeah. Hey, Gary here, Gary Clayton Photography. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please give me a like, share, do leave a comment. I'll get back to your comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe, and we will see you next time. But you know what, before we go, let's just take a look at the images that we captured today. Thank you. Bye-bye.